Politicians will say a lot of things. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is not the same Nasir El-Rufai that was boldly supporting a Muslim ticket leading up to the elections. It's not the same Nasir El-Rufai that was part of those that took the central bank to court over the Naira policy. Is it not Nasir El-Rufai that casted, many aspersions against Peter Obi? Today, Nasir El-Rufai's son is now saying, Peter Obi is not such a bad person. Now, everybody's gravitating towards the SDP. Is this not the same Nasir El-Rufai that said at some point he was never going to leave the APC? So he's gone through how many parties now? From the PDP to CPC to APC, now SDP. Anyway, he's sworn that he's never going to go back to the PDP, but the PDP started all of this for him. But in all of those things, one thing is consistent. There's a P in all of those parties. You do the math and tell me what the P is, watching me this morning. I don't take politicians seriously. I'm happy that President Muhammadu Buhari has come to clarify what he said, that yes, he might have given him his blessings as he claimed, but he's going to support his own political party till the end. Secondly, all of this is somebody that feels hurt. He feels he worked for President Tinubu, and President Tinubu didn't pay him back. So when they say, does he feel betrayed? He said, no, he feels betrayed. Because if he doesn't feel betrayed, he will stop crying about this ministerial thing. El-Rufai has been crying about this ministerial thing.
All right.
He's been wailing. He's been crying. He's been jackburrowing about this ministerial thing. So it's time for him to cease the cry.
All right.
And that's why, as part of the crying and the wailing and the jackburrowing, he's saying he knows people that paid for ministerial position. They got to be ministers. You did not get to be ministers.
You didn't get to be ministers?
Go and face your political struggle with the SDP.
All right. Dr. Obasi, you're taking
Okay, a number of issues here. I already wrote an extended essay on this subject on Tuesday, back page column, in this day. So whatever I say is an additional comment, since I already wrote a long essay. And what are those additional comments? It's as follows. One, El-Rufai, Nasir El-Rufai, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, is saying that he knows those who paid to be ministers. I would like him to name those persons who paid to be ministers, because it's music to our ears as Nigerians, we long-suffering Nigerians, that people pay to become ministers of the Federal Republic. This is a point we have often made, that look, when people are appointed to positions, the leadership recruitment process should be based on meritocracy, should be based on ability. It should not be based on cash. Now, if they pay to be ministers, who gave money to whom? Who collected the money? Because this is a direct accusation, an assault on the integrity of President Tinubu personally, and also an assault on the integrity of all the serving members of the Federal Cabinet of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I expect the ministers to speak up. I expect also President Tinubu to tell us whether indeed it is a norm for people to pay to become federal ministers. That is one point. The second point is that Nasir El-Rufai is now crying, woof, 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 woof. This is the same man who 3 years ago, on the pages of Leadership newspaper, you can Google it, he says that he will remain in APC till he dies.
Yes, he said so.
That story is there.
Yes.
Now, what was his argument at that time? He said he was one of the 37 original members that formed the APC. The APC, you know, of course, is a special purpose vehicle. At the time it was created in 2013, 2014, bringing together, the aggrieved members of the PDP who call themselves New PDP, led by Senator Bukola Saraki, the CPC, the ACN, led by President Tinubu, some faction of the AMPP. They all came together, and their mission at that time was to remove President Jonathan from power. is this nemesis, that we're seeing in terms of the disemboweling of the All Progressives Congress. That's the second point. The third point is that Malam El-Rufai is saying that he didn't beg for the position. I think he's right on that score. Because President Tinubu promised him publicly at an event in Kaduna. He said at that time that he wanted to go for further studies abroad. Right? And the president said, you are going nowhere, I'm going to make you a minister. The only man who was so honored publicly. And then at the end of the day, they came and said security reports did not favor him. His own friend and former partner and brother and colleague is a national security advisor. So how did, under Malam Nuhu Ribadu's watch, they arrived at the conclusion that Nasir El-Rufai is a risk, a security risk to Nigeria? I think fair is fair. On that score, he has every reason to be aggrieved, to be angry. My next point is about this coalition, this toing and froing. He has been meeting with all kinds of disgruntled politicians here, either in Lagos or in other places. I do not think that this idea of a grand coalition that they are putting together, I don't think is likely to work. Again, because of Malam El-Rufai's own limitations, and also because of the ambitions of all these parties who say they want to take over power from President Tinubu. They should know that President Tinubu is an old fox in this game. Somebody came on this program and called him master of the game. He's not going to fold his arms and allow people to just push him out of power. All of us must be realistic in that regard. But I think that the drama, the disemboweling, the revelations are useful for the political education of many Nigerians who just listen to the sensation and do not know anything beyond the headlines.
All right, just a few more words to add to this, and that is that he actually said it's the party like food. If it's like food, that he actually said that to the APC. And when he was asked that, was he afraid of being expelled by the party, and was that a motivation for him leaving the party to join the SDP, he actually rejoined, saying, actually, expulsion would have been better. It would have saved him the headache of this journey he's had to make. And that shows the deep-seated disgruntlement of Malam Nasir El-Rufai with the APC. He's continued to maintain that the reason for his grouse is largely because the APC has moved away from its progressive ideology and is now more focused on, he talks about it, personal gain, personal, favors, and the fact that people are rewarded just, boy no boy, someone knows somebody, and that those who actually worked for the party and are being maligned, are forgotten, are left behind, and that's one of his biggest grounds. He took us down memory lane with that interview, talking about the reasons why he supported the current president, one of which was that some Muslims from the Southwest had come to him to say that they felt like they had been sidelined in the grand scheme of things when it came to leadership in Nigeria. The second part of it being that, in the spirit of fairness, the last election also have been zoned to the south, and so he had to support the president. But following that, things have then gone downhill, of course, with that infamous pulling out of his name from the ministerial screening as a result of what had been cited as security reports, which, by the way, we haven't really heard much about that since then. But the issue now, of course, as we look forward to 2027, even though some people had opined that it's too early to begin to talk about 2027, but I think with what's playing out in the political space in Nigeria currently, the conversation is certainly rife. We're seeing a number of political figures making political moves and publicly declaring as to which party or what party they're going to align with. SDP seems to be a leader in this, and you can understand why. The PDP is in disarray currently, and they're trying to get their acts together, so it doesn't look very appealing. And then the PDP within itself have some strong people who I'm not sure how easy it would be to relinquish their ambition to becoming presidential candidates of the party. The Labour Party on its own is also currently facing internal disputes, and so it's not very attractive. And of course, they also had their leading presidential candidate in the last election, and so these figures who are perhaps looking for the top job in 2027 are looking away to these other parties, and SDP is becoming a lot more attractive. I think it's important to note that he mentioned that he did have some godfathers, but he would not want to mention their names. So one principal person that he speaks to before making any critical political decision is former President Muhammadu Buhari. That also speaks to the lingering influence of the former president, especially in the north, and the fact that he's still being consulted. He said he's a statesman now, he's no longer a politician, and so he will just leave, but he has affirmed his role as an APC, bona fide APC member. He also talked about Pastor Tunde Bakari, and that's a name that perhaps we should maybe look at come 2027. Is he going to play any role in the political activities of 2027? Because he had said it was actually Pastor Tunde Bakari who dragged him or who brought him into the APC at the time. So what role would he play in 2027? Does this make the SDP a stronger party? What does this mean for opposition in Nigeria and their challenge to the lead to the APC come 2027? And this is what a number of people have said, that if this coalition doesn't work as a result of the personal ambitions of the individuals involved, it might just again pave a smooth sailing ride to Aso Rock for the next 4 years, for a second term for the APC. Because when these parties are in disarray, in terms of all these opposition parties, it only makes it stronger for the APC to have a clear, a smooth ride come 2027. So they need to get their acts together. Perhaps people have to put their personal ambitions aside in the interest of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria. But I laugh at that because we all know what that is at the end of the day. A lot of these leaders, unfortunately, put themselves first ahead of nation building. So let's see how that plays out. Could this be perhaps an indication that the APC is about to get another smoother journey into the Aso Rock as a result of the political shenanigans happening in all these other opposition parties? Well, we watch. Let's move on to our next story this morning. And I
told them, if anybody dreamed that they can impeach Fubara and nothing will happen, just tell them they should go and dream again. Mr. President, why do you want to sacrifice all their years of standing? Why is all that? What did Wike do for you? I want to come out frontal, direct. I don't want to go this. What did Wike do for you? That you want to follow Wike to the slaughter? That you want to follow Wike to Golgotha? Nothing will happen, he tells you. Wike. You are telling the job people nothing will happen. Person will first complain. Now the person will then say be weak. Oh. The job people are complaining. They are telling you, Mr. President, this is not the right path. This is not the right thing to do. If you look at my eyes through my glasses, let me remove, you will see tears set in my eyes. Because you have put me in a very difficult position. A dear friend and his people.
My problem with Wike is this arrogant attitude of playing God. That everything must be about you.
If you apologize,
and I have warned him in advance about it.
You keep saying, if you apologize to you, will it be over?
No, there is no apology. It's nothing to me. He should apologize to the people of Rivers. He should apologize to the people he is disrespecting. He disrespects everybody, including myself.
But what started the thing? Because at some point, I think you know your company was engaged to
because at that time it was focused on his project, on its developmental projects. And I admired him for that, and I still admire him for that. But I cannot admire a man who after God has blessed you, you've been a local government chairman, you've been chief of staff, you've been minister of state for education, you've been governor for 8 years, now you are minister of FCT, and you still want to control a man because you said you put him there. Some people also helped you to become governor. Did you listen to them when you were governor? So why don't you just face the new assignment given to you by President Tinubu? And
This crisis is between the executive and the legislative arm, the both of which Nyesom Wike does not belong to any. And when people who are given opportunity to govern their people swore an oath to uphold the constitution and obey the rule of law, so that the dividends of democracy will trickle down to their people, decides to create crisis among themselves, you can't link it, or you can't hold it on a man who is not in either of both parties. Everybody on Wike is very busy in Abuja. If you know the amount of work and the amount of time needed for him to give the dividends of democracy he's churning out in Abuja, you will know he doesn't have that time. But the truth be told, Ezeboye Wike is a Rivers man. And as a Rivers man, every Rivers man, including me speaking here, will have an interest in our state. And that's why I'm on this show this morning. So for us, the crisis is between the executive and the legislative arm of government, and that we expect that the executive arm of government should realize that we run a constitutional democracy, and each arm of government should be allowed to operate independently, even if they can cooperate to make sure they achieve results. So you can't come and link it to somebody who has no role to play in the crisis.
Okay, Mr. Wanosike, just before I get to you, Barrister Wanosike, at the time this crisis started, there were statements made by the former governor and minister of the FCT, and even a few days ago when he had a live broadcast, he also made certain statements. A statement like, if the governor is impeached, heaven will not fall. He also made a statement about the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, that he has never seen a man that corrupt, using his word. Now, you're saying that he has no role in the crisis in Rivers State. Probably a lot of people will not agree with you on this.
First of all, I didn't hear what you were saying.
Okay, I'll go.
I don't know if you can take it.
Okay,
because your network went off.
Okay, I'll go right again. I said just few days ago, when the former governor of Rivers State and minister of the FCT made a live broadcast, he alluded to the fact that if the governor is impeached, heavens will not fall. That was after the governor alleged that he was locked out from the assembly for presenting the 2025 budget. And also there was a statement where he said, he made a comment about the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, that he is not capable of heading that body. Would you say such a man with such statements has no role in the crisis in Rivers State?
Like I said, Ezeboye Wike is an interested Rivers man. Like me, I'm an interested Rivers man too. That's why you invited me to this show. I don't belong to the executive, I don't belong to the legislative. And let me even ask a question. I remember before now, you journalists used to say, the assembly, the legislative arm all over Nigeria are all rubber stamp assemblies. They are just push around. Whatever the governors talk out is what they pass, and all manner of statements being made. But today we have a legislative arm that is willing to work. I think we should commend them for standing to say, no, we will not allow our governor run this democratic process without the rule of law and without obeying the Constitution of Nigeria. When a man does not obey court orders, like the Supreme Court has said, like you read in the certified true copy from the judgment of the Supreme Court, it said clearly that no government has existed in Rivers State since 2023 October by the actions of the governor. And the governor in his own worked and destroyed the hallowed chamber of the assembly and decided to say, assembly members have lost their seat on his own, without allowing the judicial process take its course, or without allowing presiding officers of the legislative as enshrined in Section 109, do what they are told to do by the Constitution. So going back to your question, I would say clearly that Ezeboye Wike is just a Rivers man who is interested in peace and making sure the dividends of democracy get to Rivers people. But we will achieve that via a government carrying on its activity along with the Constitution of Nigeria in agreement with the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
I used to be a tough man. I used to be, until I met you and realized that troublemaker get level. Because somebody will know they tire and say he will fight you. You have to find solution to your problem. So I made up my mind. It is better to be with you than to be against you. A lot of us here, we don't know when to stop and align yourself. The Englishman says if you can't beat them, you join them. It's a very good advice. Me, I join you. I'm with you. And that will be the basis of my advice for the new governor. The last 4 years was rather a tough experience of my life because I didn't have a successor. Let me tell you today, Governor Wike and Governor Fobra, this plane you want to start flying now, I flew that plane before you by the grace of this man. This plane, tomorrow night you enter, His Excellency is coming. I flew that plane from Akure, 7 p.m. I'm in Port Harcourt. Mommy is a witness. I want to say to you, sir, you came in with the hands of God. You are a miracle governor. Today, you are Governor Rivers State. My brother, the day your eyes begin to see, you will miss road. Close your eyes completely. Maybe if I have a godfather, I won't have problem. Maybe if I have a godfather like our father here and Wike, I will not have problem. I didn't have one. They oppressed me, they showed me pepper. The moment your eyes begin to see in this government, you will have problem. Oh. Close your eyes. Those windows, if you can close them, close it. For you to have eternal peace in your, I don't know, but let me say your 8 years. The way you will use the 8 years is in your hand. Adam and Eve, the very day Adam began to rationalize God's word, Adam, the very day he rationalized God's word, Adam realized, I am now a man with a wife. He entered gutter. He entered trouble. Sir, may God help you, Your Excellency. My counsel is to you. God will help you. Don't see more than what you are supposed to see. The moment you want to see more than you are supposed to see, you begin to see spirit. Oh. I know Wike. Oh. I know Wike. Oh. Now, if he say he will fight you, it's either you surrender or you look for that trouble to the end. God will not find you Wike's problem. Oh. He has found you Wike's favor. Remain in God's favor and Wike's favor. God bless you.